From SF Land, this is Dorking Out, a podcast for people who love to dork out about movies, TV, and everything pop culture.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
I'm your huckleberry.
You are my huckleberry, and the day this episode drops is Margo's birthday. Woo! So we're having a podcasting party. So also here is our podcasting brother from another mother, Adam Riske from F This Movie. Hello, friend.
Hello, Margo. I sent you some opium.
I get headaches sometimes, just so you know.
Yeah.
If you couldn't tell by our huckleberry line, we are dorking out about 1993's Tombstone. This was Margo's pick. Why did you pick Tombstone, Margo?
Because Tombstone is one of those movies I went just because it was a double date situation and someone picked the movie. And it was one of those things like, okay, I'll go to the movie, then we're going to go to Chili's or something, have a great meal. Like, I didn't even think, I didn't know anything about the movie. I knew less about Doc Holliday.
That seems like the best way to see Tombstone, actually, to see Tombstone and then go to Chili's.
It was perfect. And I just was completely charmed by it. I think Val Kilmer is perfect, and I love everybody in this movie. I just found it so damn entertaining. I watched it 2 more times in the theater. I liked it that much. And then when it came out on VHS, I moved to New York in 95. I had a stack of movies and I could only fit so many. And Grumpy Old Men and Tombstone made the cut. Like, I had to have them to watch whenever I wanted. And I have to say, I watched it again this week and I was completely delighted by it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Adam, did you see Tombstone in the theater?
I did not. No, I caught up with it either on video or cable, but it's been a staple of my life ever since that first viewing.
Yeah, it played at my movie theater, so I saw it multiple times back in the day. But I hadn't seen it in a long time, and it was really fun to rewatch it last night. I forgot how much I really liked this movie.
Yeah, it's pretty timeless.
I think so. It's, you know, we were talking before we started recording, we mentioned the other Wyatt Earp movie that came out like 6 months later. And that I remember being like, that's the one I was excited about because I was excited to, like, I like Kevin Costner. I hear that Adam likes Kevin Costner. I don't know if people know that.
Rumor has it
that Adam really likes Kevin Costner. But it was like Lawrence Kasdan wrote it. And so that seemed to have the pedigree. And I was like, well, Tombstone came out first. I'm going to go see it. And it's just way more watchable and fun. I love it.
Yeah, Tombstone is definitely like in Unforgiven when they're talking about sort of those like Pulp Fiction westerns that writer is writing. This is like that as a movie, whereas Wyatt Earp is like, what if this was real life?
Yeah, which is fine. There's places for that too.
Yeah.
It's just not the kind you go back to and rewatch over and over like Tombstone.
It's too long.
It's really long. I think I've only seen Wyatt Earp twice, and I'm about as big of a 90s Costner guy as you can find. So.
Right. So I wrote in my notes, do you have a favorite Western, and why is it Tombstone?
I just get caught up in the story. I like how authentic it's trying to be. It's just chock full of like amazing actors. And then Jason Priestley's in there.
Oh my, okay.
I mean, and he's good. I mean, like, there's so many great. Dana Delaney gives this really weird performance that I adore. I'm not sure what she's going for, but it's great. Val Kilmer, I keep saying over and over again, but it's just. If you just made a movie just with his scenes, I would watch it over. I would watch it even more. He's so good in this movie.
There's so many people in this movie and so many characters, and some of them just disappear and we never see them again. And I'm like, what happened? And then we get a line at the end, and I was like, oh yeah, what did happen to his wife? You know, or like, and I'm like, what happened to Sam Elliott? Like, we never saw them again.
When they explain what happens to Maddie at the end, and in the weirdest voiceover to end a movie that there's ever been. It's like reading like annotations to the movie. But he says he's like Maddie died like shortly after Tombstone, and he basically has like an implicit like dumbass
Like
tone. And then they end the movie with Maddie and Wyatt like lived a happy life until Wyatt's death in Los Angeles in 1929. Among the pallbearers were early Western stars, including Tom Mix, and Tom Mix wept.
Yeah. And that's the closing line.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, random country action star cried. Cool. Like,
Yeah.
They're trying to establish his bona fides why we're even talking about him. But it's like, I've seen the movie. I get why we're talking about him. You don't have to tell me about Tom Mix. I don't know who that is. I don't care. I'm already on board.
I think the movie should have ended when she said, "Don't worry, Wyatt, my parents are rich."
I love that line.
And then the like credits roll. It would have been like, nobody's perfect. Like it would have been like that kind of ending.
They play the Pointer Sisters. I'm so excited.
That would be the best. I think we should do another cut of this movie.
There's several cuts we can do. So supposedly they had a director, but they fired him the first couple of weeks, and then they had another director assigned to it, but he didn't speak English very well. So Kurt Russell always says that he directed this movie, that he decided where the cameras were and all that stuff, and I totally believe him.
I could see that.
I could see that too, just because there's so many people that you recognize in this movie from stuff, and they all are good. And Kurt Russell seems like the nicest person, so they're probably all like, we want to do like a really good job for Kurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a question for you both about Val Kilmer, because we started to talk about him a little bit. I have a theory that like, because all right, there's like this reputation that's like so common that even like lay people like me know that Val Kilmer is supposed to be difficult to work with.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, like, was he difficult to work with before Tombstone, or was it like, okay? Because I was gonna say, like, maybe it's just he goes, I killed it in The Doors and I killed it in Tombstone. What else do you guys want from me? Why am I not getting recognized for this? And then he became a shit.
No, I heard there was another podcast, and I'm sorry I'm blanking on the name of it, but they interviewed the kid that played Gabe Barrett from Real Genius, the young kid, the young star. Mm-hmm. They interviewed him, and he spilled the tea and just said, he was a total asshole, like very, very difficult, very, very arrogant, and little regard for other people. So he was full of himself. I mean, maybe it was a phase or something.
That bums me out, because Real Genius is like one of my all-time favorite movies. But it won't change my love of it. I love that movie.
No, it's a perfect movie. But I think that's what it was. But he's been very sick the last few years, and I think he's handling it pretty well. I think it sort of humbled him somewhat. Yeah. But he has a whole thing now where he dresses up as Mark Twain and gives these talks. And then you can ask him anything. Like, he'll talk like Mark Twain, and then you just ask him questions about, like, Batman and what was that like, and he's totally okay with it.
I want him to dress up as Doc Holliday and answer questions
with the accent. I want that little whiskey thing, like the little cup that he flies. I love that scene where he flips around the cup, the drinking cup. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, I just remembered. I actually met Val Kilmer. I don't know why I forgot this. I met him at a convention, and I got his autograph. And this was maybe 10 years ago. And he was really nice to me. And when I met him, I had like a thing from Willow. Of all the movies, why Willow, I don't know. But like instead of Tombstone or Heat or Batman Forever or something. But I was like, here's this thing from Willow. So it was a picture with him and Warwick Davis. It was like an 8x10. And then me and him were talking for like 30 seconds, and it was going well. And he goes, do you mind if I put a work joke on here? And I was like, no. I'm like, no, go ahead. That's fine. And then he wrote actual size and drew an arrow to Warwick Davis. And I was like, is that funny or mean?
It's a little both.
Yeah.
He is so good in this movie. I think that like you said, he's been sick, so I don't know what our chances are of Val Kilmer like appearing in more movies. Like, is he going to be in the new Top Gun movie?
I think he's got a cameo, or he's supposed to be in it somehow. Yeah.
But he's going to be one of those actors that, you know, you'll be like, I can't believe he never won something. You know, like, like I looked up the Academy Award nominations for the same year that Tombstone came out, because I was like, who beat Val Kilmer? Like, he's so good in this movie. But the truth is, like, he wasn't even nominated, but I'm like, there's some really good nominations in here. Like, Martin Landau won for Ed Wood that year. And then, like, Sam Jackson was nominated for Pulp Fiction. And Gary Sinise for Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan? And then there's two that I don't really remember. And I was like, he could have been in one of those spots. Chaz Palminteri for Bullets Over Broadway.
Oh, he was great in that. I love Bullets Over Broadway.
And Paul Scofield for Quiz Show.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. No, Val Kilmer would have been fun to include there. He was nominated for the MTV Movie Awards.
Well, that's what matters. That's what matters.
You know, that is kind of the audience for it.
That's true. It is kind of it's not a full-on MTV Western, because that would be The Quick and the Dead. And I think that was like 2 years later, or maybe a year later. Did you guys see The Quick and the Dead? I actually really like The Quick and the Dead.
The Quick and the Dead is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told my sister.
Movie. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I told my sister I was doing Tombstone this week, and she's like, that's the one with Sharon Stone. And I was like, no, that's The Quick and the Dead. And she's like, okay, that's the one with Leonardo DiCaprio. And I was like, no, still Quick and the Dead. You're not. I'm like, I'll put that on the list, Michelle. We'll get to Quick and the Dead. I see what you're saying. But I interrupted you. I'm sorry, Adam. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Quick and the Dead was apparently another movie where it was like bad star behavior, and it led Sam Raimi to stop directing because he basically had like a mental breakdown from working with Sharon Stone and especially Gene Hackman.
Oh, really?
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like Sam Raimi had to, like, he was so unconfident about his own directing or something like that after that movie that he's friends with the Coen brothers. So the Coen brothers asked him to do like some second unit stuff with, like, I think it was Paul Newman or like some actor who's like supposed to be notoriously nice. And he's like, no, work with him and you'll get your confidence back up, because not everybody's like that.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
Welcome to our Val Kilmer podcast, by the way. This is where we only talk about Val Kilmer.
I was going to say, actually, I met the actor Stephen Lang. He plays Ike Clanton in the movie, and I read the trivia. They said he was drunk the whole time. I don't know, but he's the guy in Avatar, the general or whatever. But it was a workout. I was for Fit Bottom Girls. I was writing for them, and it was a workout that Reebok Gym created. And so we worked out with Stephen Lang, and he was in awesome shape and very, very nice guy.
I would probably be drunk the whole time filming this. I mean, what were these guys doing? They're filming in the middle of nowhere, probably. They're just getting drunk and growing mustaches.
Yeah.
This movie is serious mustache porn. If you like mustaches, this is your thing.
Who's got your favorite mustache of the cast?
I think Sam Elliott always has my favorite.
Yeah, it's gotta be Elliott.
Just to throw some variety in there, I gotta throw in my hat for Powers Booth.
Do you know what's crazy? Is Bill Paxton and Powers Booth died the same year, like a few months from each other.
It breaks my heart because those were two actors I really liked.
I know.
They were always good in whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
Always great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a
I
good
think
Yeah,
Michael
it's tough.
I was gonna say I think Michael Bean's really good in this movie
He's so good.
as Johnny
Yeah.
Ringo.
I like to think
His
he's
little-
related to the character from The Abyss. It's like a distant, like a great grandfather or something.
Is that for real?
No, I made it up.
Oh.
I'm saying
God, I was thinking the same thing, Adam. I was confused.
There's like a Beaniverse.
in my head there is.
Yeah. Is Rowan Atkinson in it?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes, Mr. Bean is in it.
Yeah. Tombstone, but also with Mr. Bean in it.
By the way, Mr. Bean is a very big celebrity in this house. My son loves Mr. Bean.
Oh man, Mr. Bean was my jam back in
Yeah.
the day, so I get it.
He loves the live action ones, and there's a cartoon.
What?
Yeah, a cartoon, a Mr. Bean cartoon, and he loves that shit. He watches it over and over and over. He loves Mr. Bean.
That's awesome.
I think Mr. Bean he's physical comedy. He translates. So like my son who, can't always keep up with the plots of everything of all these movies. Mr. Bean, it's like, I tried to go swimming and my shorts fell off in the pool. Like that translates, to him. He's all, I get it. That would be embarrassing. Anyway, welcome to our Mr. Bean podcast.
No.
My Bean cast.
I wanted to also talk about, because some of these performances I think are goofy but amazing. And one of them is Dana Wheeler Nicholson as Matty Earp, the one who needs
Is that the
tonic?
Wyatt? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's Kurt Russell's wife.
She looks like she doesn't trust him for one goddamn second.
Mm-mm.
The time she shows up, like she knows he's going to do something, that he's looking around.
Mm-hmm. Every time I see her, I'm like, who is she again? And I have to look her up, and then I remember, I'm like, oh, she's the wife from Fletch.
Yeah. Alan Stanwyck's wife, yes.
That's every time. Every time she shows up, I'm like, I know her. And then it's Fletch. Everyone's making choices in this movie. Like, Powers Booth is like just power boothing it up. Michael Bean's making choices. Michael Rooker.
I love Michael Rooker.
So there's so many awesome people in this movie. Jason Priestley. Jason Priestley shows up like in 3 scenes, and then we never see him again.
Billy fucking Zane.
Thank you. That outfit he wears on stage when he takes the cape off with the pantaloons. Oh, and he's doing great eyebrow work too.
Mm-hmm.
I love that when Billy Zane's character is killed, that they're dragging him around in a stagecoach, and Dana Delaney's just stopping everywhere and being like, "He was the best of us."
Okay, Dana Delaney is goofy in this movie. She's completely goofy, but I love it.
Yeah,
I think she's hilarious.
The thing that she's got a tricky performance because she has to be somebody that the audience is like, yeah, leave your wife for her, and is like on her side. And like, not for a single moment am I just not wanting Wyatt and Maddie to run off with each other.
Yeah.
Or is her name Maddie? Or is she the other? Or is Maddie the wife?
Maddie's the wife.
Maddie's the wife.
She is. I'm going to look it up so that we can.
Josephine.
Josephine. There you go.
And they did stay together 47 years, as the credits tell us. So it was true love.
With that amazing,
and she's rich.
Amazing voiceover at the end.
So it's Robert Mitchum's doing the voiceover?
Mm-hmm.
And Charlton Heston's in this movie?
And Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob, a chubby Billy Bob.
I
That's
know.
Like for him.
He was almost unrecognizable to me. I was like, is that Billy Bob? Yep. And he gets his ass kicked pretty early on. That's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty great when like Kurt Russell's just scolding him.
Just slapping him around.
Yeah.
Oh, and John Corbett.
Yeah, he is in this.
John Corbett's in this.
Adam loves him too.
Yeah. John Corbett drops dead right after Powers Booth in that ambush. Yeah. Yeah. Although this has to be against type for John Corbett because he's about the most affable person you could put in a movie.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a side movie going on here where maybe he's like charming one of the farm girls or something.
Yeah.
By being super nice. This is just his day job. That's what I like to think.
I get it.
I like that the villains in this movie, the cowboys, that they wear the red sashes so you can easily identify them. I think that's really handy.
I like the fact they point that out too at the beginning, so we know.
And I like that we're able to identify who the bad guys and the good guys are right away because Powers Booth and his crew show up and like destroy a wedding party.
Oh my
and then eat all their food.
That first scene is brutal.
It's so brutal. And then like we meet Kurt Russell and we know he's a good guy because he stops a man from hitting a horse. And I'm like, see, he's good. Powers Booth bad.
I had this weird thing this time watching it that I've never had before, and I think it's maybe because I catch up with it like halfway through on TV so often, but after that first scene, for the rest of the movie, I was like scared of the cowboys a little bit more than I usually am, where I felt like this threat of violence just with every conversation, and it was interesting to watch it that way because I'm so used to catching up with it, like when Ringo gets shot in the head and is doing his death dance, and I'm like, haha, Johnny Ringo.
Death dance.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal, that first scene. I mean, like you said, it's the wedding party. They shoot the guy in the head. They shoot the priest.
Yeah.
And then they drag off the bride. And then they're just sitting around eating the food and giggling amongst themselves. It's a good way to open the movie. I mean, but you are you are afraid of them right away. Yeah. And I think and Powers Booth is so fucking amazing. Just being a dirtbag. You can tell he's having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a real like joy of performance thing that's infectious going for him in this movie.
I think everybody's having fun in this movie.
Yeah. I can see that too.
If you're an actor, doing a Western must be like what you want to do a Western. It would be super fun. Like, God, there used to be so many. Every movie was a Western. I feel like back in the like 40s and 50s, they must just be having such a good time. You must want to do a Western if you're an actor. I would totally want to get on a horse and say rootin' tootin' and all that shit. I'd love it.
You sound like you'd be in Woody's gang.
Totally.
That's Margo's Western is Woody's gang.
Yeah.
I don't know what Western I would be in. Let's see. Let me think about it. Maybe the Blazing Saddles Western. I think I could do that one.
I'd be in Texas Rangers as the one who's like 50 feet behind Vanderbeek and being like, can I be in the gang too?
Hey guys, wait up.
I'm like, I'll brat pack with you. We could be the brattiest one.
What do you guys think of Jason Priestley in this movie?
I love it, but like now that Luke Perry's gone, I wish it was Luke Perry.
Yeah.
I think he could, but I think, yeah.
Did you pick up like a subtext that he was in love with Billy Zane?
Oh, he's a total, he is gay as a May morning. That's the whole point.
But I don't think I don't know if the character that he's playing was in real life. Granted, I just did like a Wikipedia.
Right.
Yeah.
Read, but I just thought that was interesting and I didn't even know that he wasn't a cowboy, but he was like the deputy of John Tenney's sheriff.
Yeah, I didn't get any of that.
He was very sharply dressed, right? Like he had the hat and everything, like the suit and everything, and very Natalie dressed. And I would say, the second he saw Billy Zane and his eyebrows, he was like, "Yep, and his pantaloons."
Yeah. Well, he's only human.
Well, speaking of Billy Zane, I met him at a convention also, and he was super, super nice. And I was there with Rob from F This Movie. And before we went to go meet him, Billy Zane was walking back to his table, and we were kind of walking towards his table so I could get an autograph. and he smiled at Rob, and I swear to God, Rob kind of got starstruck, and it was hilarious.
Oh.
And I was like, you got a floor smile? You didn't even have to pay for that.
Yeah. What that tells me is Billy Zane has it. Like some actors have it. Like it's like they like a little spotlights on them when they and if they make eye contact with you, you feel really special.
Yeah. It's the biggest loss of movie fans ever that he never played Lex Luthor.
That's
you know what?
That would be
the
good.
jury's out. He could probably do it in the future.
Yeah.
Huh. So nobody cares about Thomas Hayden Church. I think Thomas Hayden Church is great in this movie, but
I do too.
I'm a big Wings person. I loved Wings, so it makes me happy to see him in things.
He's so young.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're all
He's
so young.
They're all so young. I want to talk about Billy Zane's theater performance. I love that all the cowboys shoot their guns up in the ceiling when they get excited. It's like something out of The
Apparently
Simpsons.
they really did that.
It's something like that character in The Simpsons, the cowboy character that just shows up and he's like, Yahoo! Like, I like that instead of clapping, that's what they're doing. They're just destroying this theater, shooting up in the air.
And people just laugh and go along with it. Like, oh, those madcap cowboys. Just shooting at people on the stage.
Yeah. I think that's when Wyatt actually starts to really hate the Cowboys because they're talking and shooting their guns during the show. And I think we all hate that.
Yeah.
That's why I pay to go to the Alamo Draft House to avoid that sort of thing.
You would think that would happen more at the Alamo, not less.
That's true. Valid point.
Yeah. They should have given the Cowboys in Tombstone chips with queso, and they would have calmed down. And milkshakes with alcohol in it.
I think that's what happens in those rowdy screenings, actually, now that I think about it. They do those special
probably.
rowdy screenings, and it's just cowboys, like huge hats that block the screen and shoot it up in the air.
Yeah.
That's how I saw Hustlers.
They all seem to know about Faust and were really captivated by that story. The Faustian bargain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's because Johnny Ringo probably taught them about that while he was teaching them Latin.
He's very smart.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite scene?
The shootout when he says, "I'm your huckleberry," or that's or you'd be a daisy if you did. I'm gonna shoot you so that you'd be a daisy if you did. That whole thing is exciting to me, and I like Doc's death scene. I don't know. I just thought he did it very well.
That's really well done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pick the shootout at the OK Corral too. I think it's very exciting, and I mean, pretty much every time Doc Holliday shows up, just his line delivery of everything, just like forgive me if I don't shake hands, the way he talks. And I was like writing that down. I was like, I'll be saying that now that we're like, to people. I'm in my prime, or I've got two guns, one for each of you, just all of that stuff.
My favorite is just Kurt Russell yelling no and not getting shot.
Wyatt never did get shot, ever.
No. I mean,
Apparently that's true.
Yeah. I just think it's so funny how it's slow-mo for 1 second of the movie where he's like, no. He's so pissed. That's great.
I thought the scene where, spoilers, you guys, where Bill Paxton's character dies, was actually really sad. Like the whole thing about, there's a conversation earlier in the movie where he's like, I heard that you see a light when you die and all this stuff, which basically telegraphs that he's going to die later, in case you didn't know. It's the equivalent of I have 2 weeks to retirement sort of thing. And then what he says, like, that ain't true, I don't see shit or whatever, is so sad. It's like the idea that he's losing his brother and his brother's not going to a better place. Like, sometimes we take comfort in knowing that people we love are going to a better place, and he's telling them that he isn't. I'm like, that's really, really sad. That shit that did not connect with like 22-year-old Sonia who saw this movie. Like, but older Sonia is like, that's fucked up.
That hit me this time too, because Bill Paxton's no longer with us, and that's why I was thinking it from that standpoint.
Yeah.
I like them all together. Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton. They look great together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super well cast, and I think the wives look great together.
Mm-hmm.
I like that scene when they're looking in the window. Oh, we could be sisters.
Yeah.
I like all this shit. What can I tell you?
I thought the Doc's death scene at the end was really well done too. That for some reason that scene, I always forget that it's there, and I forget that he's basically confessing to being in love with his not basically, he does confess to being in love with his cousin. Like, and I was like, oh, but kind of, the idea of he's dying without his boots on, I don't know, it just hit me a little different
Looking
this
at his
time.
toes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really thought he had tuberculosis. I mean, he looks terrible in those scenes when he's sweating. Yeah.
He looks like shit through this whole movie.
Yeah.
It's awful.
He's the second best looking person with TV after Nicole Kidman and Moulin Rouge.
That's
still on our list, Adam. You brought that one up.
I just want to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in forever. So.
Who's the woman who plays Kate, his girlfriend?
I'll look it up. I know I've seen her and stuff, but I can't.
She's good.
Her.
That plays
Big Nose Kate.
Big Nose Kate, yeah, and in the
her
real
name's
life,
Joanna. Her name's Joanna Pakula, and she was in Gorky Park. And let me see what else. She was in Marked for Death, which I just watched during
this movie fest.
During quarantine. She was in My Giant.
Oh God,
she was in
I haven't
Virus.
seen that in a long time.
Yeah, maybe she was in TV.
She's good in this movie.
Don't know. Yeah, she is good.
You guys are sending me down a rabbit hole. So the woman who plays Bill Paxton's wife in the movie is Billy Zane's ex-wife.
What?
Ooh.
Yep. Lisa Collins.
Ooh.
Holy cow.
Maybe they must have met on this movie. Maybe.
Wow.
It says he was they were married in 89, divorced in 95.
Oh, no. So right after filming they're like, I'm sick of you. So it's the opposite, Sonia. This movie was probably the end of their marriage. Wah, wah. There's a character in this movie that they just throw off his name real fast. They call him Stillwell, and all I could think about was League of Their Own.
Angel.
Stillwell Angel. That's I was like, Stillwell Angel.
And Stillwell, Dorking Out connection. Stillwell was played by the guy who was the killer in The Bodyguard.
Oh, that's right.
Dorking Out connections.
Mm-hmm. This movie would be great for 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Oh yes,
because so many people are in it.
It's an excellent starting point.
Yeah. Oh, and I gotta give a shout out regarding Lisa Collins again.
Yeah.
One of the things on her filmography is she was in an episode of The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. And if you are a Western fan of the 90s, then Briscoe County Jr. is an awesome show.
I only watched it like occasionally. I didn't watch a ton of TV in the 90s. I should put that on my list and catch up with it because I know I would like it.
Yeah, I caught up with it when they released the DVDs like 15 years ago, and it was great.
Who was in that?
Bruce Campbell.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Should we just sit here and quote lines from Tombstone?
I'm into it.
Because there's so many.
I like when Powers Booth is just like, well, bye.
There's just so many, like, I'm coming and I'm bringing hell with me. Hell's coming with me, or just all kinds of stuff.
I like it.
So
when Kurt Russell just sees Dana Delaney.
Oh,
like he and it just goes, oh God.
He goes,
he's
oh
immediately
hell.
falling apart.
Like every time she shows up, oh hell.
Yeah.
She's
She's
under her skin. Yeah.
I interviewed her once when they were filming a show called Presidio Med here in San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah, back when
What
I was
she like?
she was very nice, and she's of course amazingly beautiful. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And her sis was on NYPD Blue.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Kim Delaney was good on that show.
That was a good show.
That was a good show.
That's another one that I only watched every once in a while, but I used to love like 90s cop shows. I should put it on my list.
That's it. All right. So I got a good NYPD Blue Tombstone crossover question.
I'm into it.
Okay.
David Caruso or Dennis Franz has to be in Tombstone. In which part would you put them in?
Caruso, I could picture the Michael. Oh, he could be Johnny Ringo.
Yeah.
I think he could do that.
Good call.
That's a good pick.
I want Dennis Franz Wyatt Earp.
He's already got the mustache.
Yeah.
It's true.
He's just like, you think that a U.S. Marshal badge is going to get you a free lunch around here or something?
He'd do talk with a Chicago accent the whole time and grab
Totally.
his crotch.
Yeah.
You pissy bitch.
I would watch that movie.
You're in my pond now, and I'm the big fish that runs it.
I'm into it. Should we talk about Kurt Russell and how he's a national treasure, first of all?
Yes.
National treasure,
Yes.
Kurt Russell.
Yes.
I want him to be in all movies. All the movies, please.
Is he
I
ever
heard-
bad in a movie?
Never.
No. He's not even bad in Captain Ron, and that's a movie that gives you permission to be bad in it.
Overboard. You could be so bad in Overboard and get away with it, and it's not. He totally sells it.
I've
Yeah.
been watching the Imagineering story on Disney Plus. It's about like the nerds that put the parks together, basically. It's all about like product design. I'm a dork, so I'm watching it. But there's some clips of like really young Kurt Russell like appearing in their like videos because he was he was like a Disney kid. He did all those live action Disney movies, like what was it, like the Computer Wore Tennis Shoes and stuff like
The
that.
Barefoot Executive.
Yeah, and he's so handsome.
Did you see his documentary about playing not minor league ball, but semi-pro?
I mean,
ball?
The
been
Battered
meaning to watch
Bastards
it.
of Baseball. It's
It's really good.
awesome. It's
cool.
so good. And he comes
Yeah.
across like he comes across really well, in it too, I think. Like apparently he's a really good player. I really like that. I think it's on Netflix, right? You should watch it. It's good.
Yeah.
I think he's so great in this movie.
He
I still
holds
think
it together.
Yeah, I do think Sam Elliott might be the real hero of the movie, but I do really like Kurt Russell in this movie. I think he's really, really great. Sam Elliott's the one that's like, we have to stand up to these guys, and he's the one that's going to do the right thing from the
And
beginning.
he loses his arm over it.
I know. I mean, first of all, it's the law. You have to cast Sam Elliott in your Western. I can't believe he's not in the other Wyatt Earp movie, too. I feel like he should be.
Mhm.
And then he's so good in this. I love Sam Elliott. Also,
Yeah.
national treasure
Always
Sam
great.
Elliott.
Yep.
This movie feels like if A1 steak sauce were a movie.
You
And
almost
I
made
mean
me
that
spit
lovingly.
coffee out my nose.
Yeah.
I almost spit coffee out my nose when you said that. That's
Oh.
it's the A1 steak sauce of movies.
Oh, going back to Kurt Russell, I heard like this great quote about him where somebody was asking him if he was like a method actor. And then he goes, I'm not a method actor. You stand on your mark and you say your line. That's acting.
I love him.
He's the best.
He is the
And
best.
it's just like, it makes me appreciate him more so than like all these method actors where it's just like they got to dig deep. It's like, no, Kurt Russell's just such a pro and doing it so long that he could just turn it on whenever they need him to.
That's so,
Right.
I wonder how him and Val Kilmer would get along, because Val Kilmer can be pretty methody.
Yeah.
But I think Kurt
I heard he
Russell has
actually-
the experience.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's directing the movie.
That's true. I guess he probably took like a step back. He probably really appreciated like everybody bringing it, whether they need to do the method or not. I think Val Kilmer actually got TB for this movie. That's how method he is.
Okay, another scene I love is when the doctor is telling him like you can't drink anymore, you can't smoke anymore, and then he can't be with his woman anymore. And he tells her, "We're gonna have to change the nature of our relations." And she just kind of climbs on top and like, "Nope."
Calls her the Antichrist. She's really good in this movie.
She's so good.
She looks like a pre-Olivia Wilde to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that, okay, so Kurt Russell plays Wyatt Earp in Tombstone. Kevin Costner plays Wyatt Earp in Wyatt Earp. And then they did 3,000 Miles to Graceland together.
That's right.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my God.
I haven't seen that in years.
I haven't seen that since the theater.
It's got like a great half hour in it. Yeah. Too bad it's 2 hours.
That sounds about right to me.
That's a lot of movies. Yeah.
That sounds like what I remember.
Yeah.
But you got Kevin Costner and Kurt Russell. That's so rad.
That's pretty great.
Can we get another movie with them, please? That would be great.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'll even settle for something on Netflix. I don't care.
Yeah. I'm into it.
Yeah.
So
they should do like Expendables, but with all those like dad actors.
Yes.
Like Costner, Russell, Berenger, Quaid, Don Johnson,
Sam Elliott,
like every actor you think would be friends with your dad.
I'm rocking back and forth in my seat. I'm like, I love this so much. I'm like, I would totally see that. My dad would buy it. Actually, you should throw Morgan Freeman in there, and then my dad would buy it on Amazon.
The "and" credit would be like, you'd be like, oh my God, this cast is stacked, and then they'd be like, and Clint Eastwood.
And Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, he would be in it for sure.
I have a story about a Morgan Freeman movie. I think it was called Last Vegas.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I haven't seen it. I don't know anything about it. But when my sister first set up my parents with like Amazon Prime, my dad saw that she connected it to her account. And my dad went on and he bought like Last Vegas and maybe The Bucket List and
Jesus,
like all these like old guys trying to commit crimes movies basically. And it like threw off my sister's like recommendations. So then Amazon was constantly like, you might like Grumpier Old Men or something like that. And she's like, damn it, Dad. She's like, I have to set you up with your own account. Stop buying all these movies. And they're like all in her account now. Like that she owns Last Vegas or it's so funny.
I love Grumpy Old Men.
I know you do.
I freaking love that movie.
I love anything with Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon.
Yeah.
It'll instantly get cool points with me. The original Odd Couple's one of my favorite movies. It makes me laugh.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Oh my God, it makes me laugh stupid hard every time I watch it. They're so funny together.
And I love the TV show, especially when they had an audience. It was much better when they had an audience, but oh God, I love that show.
It's so weird to watch sitcoms now with a laugh track.
Oh, it's so bad.
It's so weird. It feels weird. But I still do it because I like to revisit WKRP.
WKRP is interesting because when it came out, it had actual rock music. It had The Who and Pink Floyd and the Stones and the Eagles, like whatever was popular at the time. And there's no way in hell they could afford it now. Mm-hmm. So they put basic music in there to kind of change it so they didn't have to pay for the licensing. And it's terrible without the real music. It's like such a buzzkill.
I still love it.
It's still it's one of the best shows ever.
It is. I was just talking about it again the other day here because that's what I have to think of things to talk about with my husband. And I mentioned WKRP in Cincinnati and how not only do I have it memorized, but I was like, I know all the characters like first and last names which seems weird to me. It doesn't seem like something I have now about like new shows. Like if you asked me, Sonia, what are the first and last names of all the characters in Brooklyn Nine-Nine or The Good Place? I'd be like, I don't know. There's the one with Kristen Bell, that one, the one with Ted Danson. I don't remember anybody's names, but for some reason, WKRP, I'm like, oh, the one with Dr. Johnny Fever or Andy Travis or Bailey Quarters, Les Nesbitt. What? That one? Like
Jennifer Marlowe?
Jennifer Marlowe? Herb Tarlick? I know them all. It's replaced probably important. There probably should be something else in my brain that should be important, but instead I know all the names of WKRP.
It was in syndication in the 80s, like nonstop. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
That and MASH, I know by heart.
That
like
one
something.
too.
Yeah.
Welcome to my WKRP podcast.
Yes.
I will definitely start that podcast. I'm going through my notes. I want to make sure I hit everything.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else I wanted to talk about.
I looked it up. There have been 14 movies about Wyatt Earp.
Really?
14, and then there are like 28 like other movies that feature Wyatt Earp. That's a lot of Wyatt Earp.
That certainly is.
What do you think it is about Wyatt Earp that is so cinematic that they want to keep tapping on this character?
I think it's the Tombstone thing. That's like the legend of Tombstone, because they never really, they're still figuring out what really happened. And then after that, he stopped shooting people and he had a career in Hollywood. And I think those stories just kind of went on.
That's true. I think maybe that Hollywood connection is what it is.
Yeah. There was even a cartoon dog named after him in American Tail 50 Goes West.
That's how you know you've made it.
It was Willie E. Burp. He was a hound dog voiced by Jimmy Stewart in his last role.
I love that.
No.
Oh my gosh. Now I need to go watch that.
Is it on Disney? Disney Plus?
It must be.
No, that was a Universal joint.
Right.
So
that would have been
you
Don
gotta-
Bluth,
you gotta-
right?
you gotta buy that shit. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I want to buy it.
I have a funny story about 50 Goes West that came out when I was like 8 or 9. And do you remember Suncoast Video?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So I was obsessed with Suncoast Video because it was a movie store in the mall, and those were like two of my favorite things. So I asked my mom to get me a copy of 50 Goes West, so she did. And I was so jacked on that movie that I pretended like the tape broke so we could go back to the store and I could re-experience buying a new copy of 50 Goes West.
That is awesome.
So I told my mom years later that there was nothing wrong with the first version of the tape, and she's just like, waste of my afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
That is so funny. You couldn't convince her to buy you a new movie. You're like, I need to give her a reason to go back.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
what they call during coronavirus an essential.
Yes.
You're allowed to go out for an essential. Mine was 50 Goes West.
Yes. Toilet paper, pasta, 50 Goes West.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I used to love Suncoast Video for the same reason, but I was older than you, so I could actually go whenever I wanted. And not to humble brag, but I could go to Suncoast Video whenever I wanted. But there was just so many movies there, but the idea that you could just buy like movie posters was the thing that like blew my mind. I was like, I think I bought a Bull Durham poster. Of course I did. Right? I bought a Bull Durham poster and one for like Good Morning Vietnam. Like I bought a poster from that. Yeah, that sounds
Wow.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
total dork.
I forgot about that store.
I used to like how they had, when the new movie on VHS came out, they would have like all these display TVs playing it to just get you into the store to buy a copy of it. That was always exciting.
When did I know you worked at Blockbuster, Adam. When was that? What years?
99 and then off and on during breaks from like 2000 to, I think the last one was 2003. And then I remember it was when I was with my college girlfriend, and I asked her one day, I said, "Do you think I'm too old to work at Blockbuster?" And she said yes. And then when she turned around, I flipped her off.
You're not too old. I worked at movie theaters till like I was 25, I think.
Yeah.
I'm still working at the movie theater because I was working my way through college, but I really liked that job. What was the movie that played in Blockbuster the most? Because you guys were always showing movies on TV.
I don't know, because it depends, because we would have to play the preview tapes most of the time. But then if it was like a Sunday morning, they would let us play anything that wasn't rated R.
Right.
So we ended up showing, like, I was in high school at that time. So like we were watching like The Dark Crystal and all those movies that like are kind of ironic or like hip for like teenagers, I guess. So we were watching stuff like that. And then I used to watch, I got as a free rental as a joke. I rented The Adventures of Elmo and Grouchland, and then just fell in love with The Adventures of Elmo and Grouchland. So I would always pretend to ironically be putting it on, but I really just wanted it on.
That's me now, but using my kid as an excuse.
Yeah.
Like bullying him into watching certain movies because I want to watch them. Like I make him like watch The Love Bug, or like, come on, you'll like it. It's got cars in it. Come on. God.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I know.
I mean, I get it. Yeah.
It's about me, not you.
Yeah. Adventures of Elmo and Grouchland was all about Elmo's blue blanket, his baby blanket, being stolen by Mandy Patinkin and taken away to Mandy Patinkin's castle. And it was like this hero's journey to get a blue baby blanket back. And I had a blue baby blanket, so I'm like, I get it.
Oh. It was
like,
also,
you get your ass out there and you get that fucking blanket.
Yeah, and it was also stolen by Mandy Patinkin. So weird.
Yeah, totally. He's such a blanket stealer.
You know he is.
Yeah. I bet you, like, he just pulls the blankets off of his partner's sheets, like, on the bed, too. And he's just like, I heard you were a blanket stealer. But
that's why he got fired from Chicago Med.
He was taking bed sheets from patrons.
He stole Christine Lottie's blanket too many times.
I like that I can make a Chicago Med joke and you guys are like, I'm into it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Wasn't he also on Criminal Minds?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loved to like join shows and then leave them after like two seasons or something.
He stole like crisis blankets from victims.
I love Mandy Patinkin too.
Yeah.
He's a treasure too.
He's a treasure.
Not a national treasure, but he's a treasure. I'll just say that. I don't want to, diffuse the power of the term national treasure, but
he's great in Princess Bride.
He absolutely is, which I hear is just for chicks. Sorry, Adam.
That's okay.
Do we have anything else we want to say about? Remember we were talking about Tombstone? Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was forever ago.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I super love it.
This was a really fun rewatch, Margo. This was a good pick.
Yeah, good pick, Margo.
Thank you. I haven't watched it in a long time, so I was worried that it wouldn't hold up. But I've watched it twice this week, to be honest with you.
That's like disclosure good.
Yeah, disclosure good. I stand by that.
Yeah, this movie needs more like virtual file cabinet stuff. Little virtual file cabinet action. And then it'd be a perfect movie.
John Corbett and wings next to the filing cabinet.
Please.
Like Kurt Russell goes into that saloon where Billy Bob Thornton's there, but Billy Bob Thornton muscles out Kurt Russell, and then they just set up their own VR saloon out on the main street. They're
would
like,
watch
wave
that
of the
too.
future, boys. Virtual reality.
I would watch that too. I would definitely put that on my Netflix queue.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get to it right away though.
No. It's like cats.
I'd get stoned and buy it, but I wouldn't really watch it.
Don't make me cough.
FYI, because that was off mic. Margo bought Cats and she hasn't watched it yet. I totally narked you out, Margo.
Because you bought cats and you just coughed. Did you cough up a fur ball?
I might as well have. I'm on my couch right now with my cat. Oh my god.
Maybe you should drink a bunch of wine and watch Cats for your birthday.
That and The Invisible Man. I'll make it like a double feature.
They're both terrifying.
Yeah.
Actually, I haven't seen Cats. I don't know if it's terrifying. I suspect it is, though.
I just love the Twitter stream from Seth Rogen, who took some edibles and then watched Cats and just gave his opinion on it going through it. And one of the people who wrote to him said, my friend worked on special effects for that movie, like, because they were working on it right until the time it was released. And they had to they digitally took away all the buttholes away from all the cats. Because they were deemed upsetting.
I love that was someone's job. What do? I'm butthole remover.
Why did someone add buttholes to begin with? They were costumed.
It could all be bullshit. I don't know, but I made me laugh. I bet it's true. I absolutely believe it's true.
Mm-hmm.
With Tom Hooper directing, I believe it's true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we don't have anything else to say about Tombstone.
No.
No.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
Did you guys watch Wyatt? No, you didn't watch Wyatt Earp. You said you put it on your list and that you have a time crunch to watch it now. That's right. That was going to be my last question.
Yeah, it's available till April 1st. So I haven't seen it probably in the past 15 years or more.
Margo, have you watched it recently?
No, is it on Amazon or Netflix?
Netflix.
Okay, I'll check it out.
I don't know if I can make a commitment to that because I still need to watch Tiger King.
It's amazing.
I have to decide Wyatt Earp or Tiger King. Which one do I choose?
Tiger King.
Tiger King? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Someday Wyatt Earp. Adam, this was super fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me back.
Where can we find you on the internet?
I'm at fthismovie.com. That's the letter F, this movie. There's weekly podcasts and articles, so check it out. And then I'm on Twitter at Riske Adam. You can find me there.
And Adam's a joy to follow on Twitter. I love following Adam on Twitter.
Thank you. I try to just keep things light.
Yes, you do. And we need that. I should take a tip from you and try doing that too.
I'm feeling all the things that other people are tweeting, but I just don't tweet them anymore.
Yeah, I think that's what I need to do too. By the way, you tweeted something about Malice yesterday, and I was like, putting that back on the list because I haven't seen that in so long.
I have to ask you both this because I'm glad you brought that up. So I was doing a double feature with Rob from This Movie, and we were texting, and we watched Malice and Final Analysis.
Ooh.
And Malice is great, and this was my second viewing of Malice. Final Analysis, have you seen that before?
Who's in Final Analysis?
Richard Gere and Kim Basinger, right?
Yeah.
It's not a good one.
No, it's so bad. There's no structure to it at all. So the second hour is just such a chore. And then they have this condition that they diagnose somebody with called pathological intoxication. And once they say it once, they say it 100 times.
Is that a thing?
I guess. I Googled it and apparently is a real thing. But imagine being the studio, the guy pitching a studio exec, 2 words, guys, pathological intoxication. And then this exec is like, my studio's at your disposal.
Sold. We're going to be rich.
Wait, who was in Malice?
Alec Baldwin. Kidman, and Bill Pullman.
Okay, yeah, that's fantastic. And I'm also thinking of Malice. I'm thinking of the Fred Savage movie with Judge Reinhold, Vice Versa. Yeah, because they go see Malice in the movie, which is a band, which is I love that movie too.
You are so funny. Margo, where can people find you on the internet to wish you happy birthday?
Oh, you can find me at Brooklyn Fitchick. That's for Twitter and Instagram. And my old-timey blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
I think we're bringing blogging back.
Oh, yeah.
You can find my old-timey blog at thesoniashow.com, and I'm at The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find Dorking Out at dorkingout.com and Dorking Out Show on Twitter, sometimes Instagram, almost never on Facebook. But if you want some stickers, you could give us an email at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com. And if you want to give us a review in the Apple Store, that would be amazing. It helps us find our people.
And also, Sonia and I co-host a show called What a Creep, where we talk about creeps. So if you love the sound of our voices, there's another place you can hear it every week.
And we have a Patreon page. It's very fun. It doesn't sound like it's fun, but it's actually fun. And we end every episode with someone who's not a creep so that you don't think the whole world's a dumpster fire, even though it kind of is right now. Yay!
Yay!
So this was
really... you know what?
Go ahead.
You know what? I actually did this. I picked the top songs of December 1993, if you want to hear them really quick.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Okay. UB40, I Can't Help Falling in Love with You.
From Sliver.
It's from Sliver.
Janet Jackson, That's the Way Love Goes. A really cool song.
I love that song.
Mariah Carey, Hero.
Not one of her best.
No. PM Dawn, Looking Through Patient Eyes.
You had me at PM Dawn.
Yep. Duran Duran, Come Undone. I love 90s Duran Duran.
That's a good one.
That's a good one, too.
And finally, Aerosmith, Living on the Edge.
That's a really good Aerosmith song. I heard Living on the Edge while I was riding Rock and Roller Coaster at Disney World, and I was like, this is peak moments.
Oh my gosh. Do we want to hear the top 10 movies of 93? Should we just keep going even though we've like basically said all of our goodbyes? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to look it up. Okay, so number 10 was The Pelican Brief.
Yep.
Still haven't seen it. Is it good?
It's okay.
Okay.
All right. We should do an episode on that one sometime. I like those 90s thrillers, you know. We all do.
I like The Client better.
I love The
Client.
Client.
It's a good one. Yeah.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
Number 9 was Philadelphia.
Yep.
Good one.
Number 8 is Sleepless in Seattle.
Good one.
That's a good one. Number 7 is Cliffhanger.
Great movie.
Number 6, I still think this is a good one we need to do. Indecent Proposal.
Oh, yes.
That one, there's a lot to talk. There's a lot to talk about there.
I remember when that came out and I was in junior high, I was thinking, like, is this a thing that happens with adults?
It hasn't happened to me yet.
Yeah.
If someone offered David $1 million to sleep with me, he would still not. I don't think he'd take it. He's possessive. Also, he's just kidding. He's a germaphobe. He's a germaphobe.
I like how he's just moral, and you're like, he's possessive.
No, that's he also won't share dessert in restaurants, just FYI.
Yeah, good.
Number 5 is The Firm.
That's
I love it.
One. Yeah.
Number 4, Schindler's List.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Saw it once. Yeah.
I've seen it more times than I would like to have seen it. We used to show it at my movie theater for like special screenings for high schools. So like so like twice a year we would get a special print of Schindler's List, and I put the print together because, humble brag, I was a certified projectionist. So I put the print together, and then I had to watch it though to make sure it was okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a tough one to watch multiple times.
It was not my favorite thing to do, but I was glad we showed it for high schools. Anyway, number 3, The Fugitive.
Love it.
Oh my God. That's the best Chicago movie.
Yep.
Fugitive is rad. Number 2 is Mrs. Doubtfire.
Love it. That's a good.
Well,
We
it
have
is.
to talk about that one day.
I
We
know.
have to.
It's on
It's
our list.
bananas. Yeah.
And then number 1 is Jurassic Park.
Oh my
movie.
goodness. The best.
That's a good
Yep.
year of movies right there. That's a lot of stuff to talk about.
I saw
Mhm.
all of those movies in the theater that year.
And I'm fascinated that some of them are like, it's like The Firm, Indecent Proposal, Sleepless in Seattle, Pelican Brief. Like, I don't know. Those, they're not Marvel movies. They're not, it's
Yeah.
interesting.
It's when
Mhm.
adults would go to the movies.
Yeah, exactly.
So they made movies for adults. Yeah.
Imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this
You
was.
mean you don't want to see more superhero movies?
I kind of do, but I would like to. I would like a little bit more variety.
Yeah, I just miss the star system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the poster for The Firm. It's just a giant Tom Cruise head, and you're like, Tom Cruise, you in or you out? That was it.
And I was in, but once you're in, they don't let you out.
Ooh. I like what you did there.
Yeah, I'm so clever. This was super fun. Thanks for talking about Tombstone. We talked about Tombstone, right?
We did.
Okay, good. And thank you, Adam, for joining our birthday podcast.
Oh, no, absolutely. Happy birthday, Margo. We love you. And thank you so much for having me on the show.
Happy
Absolutely.
birthday, Margo. Do you want me to sing to you, Margo?
Absolutely.
No,
Go for it.
No, nobody wants that. Sweet birthday, baby.